And we're back with the dots, and today it's about to be a good day. We got a lot of new updates. First things first, let's get straight to it. We're gonna be doing a carbon hood. Told you I'd get him to do it. That's gonna be nice. Y'all see it. Y'all gonna see it. You're gonna understand when you see how we get that done. It's gonna be a good addition. And we're doing the carbon dash. And then I think we're gonna actually have time to cut the dash out to put the AP2 cluster. I'm gonna grab that. So got the AP2 cluster, you know, hopefully get that put in. And we're gonna be doing the first layer of carbon for the doors. I think we're doing the skins. And on top of that, we're gonna be welding the R200 diff to the S2000 transmission adapter. So let's just get straight to it. Ain't no need to keep this intro long. It's a good day. Let's get it. The hell is going on here?
Suspension testing. You want to carry that guy? Here, let me get up on this top.
Carbon layer 1. Look at Rigo. Work the muscles. Woo! Yeah!
So what I basically did was get the doors completely straight, and then I primered them, sanded them with 600, which is something I didn't do on the roof, but it'll just make finishing the inside of the door panels easier. Then we did the same 3 coats of wax, and then 2 coats of the PVA mold release. Since I have the doors in the booth here, we laid the first layer of epoxy resin, baked the booth to like 130 degrees, and let it sit in here for like an hour, hour and a half maybe. Got nice and tacky. And we laid this first layer of carbon on, let this sit up for another hour, make sure it's actually staying in place and completely down in all the corners. Just because around the handles there's a little bit more of a, more detail than the roof had. And I want to make sure that every layer of this stays straight, because if you start getting wobbly layers, your end part is going to have a wobble on the outside. Since I'm not using a mold, the outside layer is really dependent on how straight all the bottom layers. There's a little bit of sanding and stuff you can do in between, right before you lay the last layer on, which is what I'm doing to the roof. That can cut, if you lay a little bit of extra resin on the top and then cut it down with an 80 grit sandpaper or something around that, you can straighten it out without getting into the carbon fiber weave. Lay the last coat of resin and then the last layer of fiber.
Which you straighten out?
Just if there's any type of wobble in your part.
Oh, okay. Like in the resin itself?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like if the resin's uneven between layers and stuff like that. But well, that's really the only drawback of not using a mold. Well, that and not being able to make more than one part. Hopefully we won't need another door, but I could always buy another door, make a mold, sell the door. So after this dries for about an hour, hour and a half, we will lay the resin coat on top of this, squeegee it real thin, make sure it's even, and then let it sit overnight, and then I'll do the last 3 layers.
Don't forget, smooth and precise is key.
We also have to make sure the last layer is running the correct direction. If you're worried about the way your weave is going to transition from part to part, the way the quarter panels is going to lay is actually 90 degrees off from this. So where this weave is running this way, it should actually be running this way. So this is the inside panel. You're only going to see this from inside the car. It's not going to match up with anything else. I'm not too worried about it. Yeah. And the carbon fiber I have is in a 50-inch roll. So this door is literally like 46 inches wide. So it's easier and it takes up less material to do the first 3 layers this direction, last layer this. This is just the control for the booth. And this is reading Celsius, not Fahrenheit, so it's not cold as shit in the booth right now. It's actually like 120 degrees. Letting it just sit at this temperature for the remaining bit of time, and then we're gonna put the epoxy on it.
When at a body shop, utilize all equipment.
Exactly. So good. It's feeling pretty fucking dry. Ooh, yep. She's ready.
If y'all watched the previous videos, y'all would know the ratio. 1 to 5.
Yep, 1 pump to 1 pump, but this pumps out a fifth of the liquid of epoxy. Get them hairs out. All right.
Time to put resin on the doors. So therapeutic.
Look at that motherfucker. Get the fuck out.
Sneaky piece there.
Since we let it fully tack while the carbon was on there, it's not, none of the weed's gonna move very much. You can see it's like everywhere where it was touching it was sitting in place. Definitely helps when you have slightly more complicated parts. All of this stuff is holding super tight because we let it fully tack with the carbon on it. I'll probably order that sometime this week.
Completely carbon hatch. Then you just pop in Lexan glass for it.
Yeah, Lexan glass, Lexan quarter glass, and then we'll do the door glass also with the sliders and everything.
How much do the rear hatches go for?
I don't even know actually.
So if anybody's watching,
In 240Z, you want a rear hatch for it?
and you said it has original glass,
Yeah.
comment down below. We will come.
Especially if you're like near Maryland and you can come scoop it. I don't feel like shipping it.
Preferably Baltimore.
Or if you want to come here, I don't care where you are. So
Yeah,
come to me.
Come to the shop and see the project.
Yeah, there you go. Probably have other 240Z parts too that you can buy.
So for the keyhole, you said you're gonna do what again?
The keyhole in the back half is like recessed a little bit. So as soon as I pop the part out, there'll be an exact marking of exactly where it needs to be cut and everything for the stock lock to sit in. And then same with the handle. There's like 2 little squares right here and then the 2 bolt holes. It'll just mount like completely stock 240Z. I might have to do the outside handle in carbon. I don't know. I might leave it. I don't know. If I do it, I'll probably do it later.
Use like the extra carbon.
Yeah,
leftover.
yeah. I have a ton of extra small pieces of carbon. You can just pick the side thing. But I don't want to hold it up from getting me finished on everything else.
So word around town is you gonna cut the carbon dash today?
I measured the hole that I need to cut just for the screen with the S2000 gauge cluster. So Josh is gonna be welding these little tabs in on this the dash support bar, and then I'm also gonna have him weld them. Tack some guys up in here because we decided since I have to. Actually, I'm still unsure about this. I might see if I can get. I have some aluminum angle iron over there, cut into thin little pieces, and that way I can just bolt it in here instead of having to add more little tabs, which I probably don't need. So Honda's K-Pro is pretty much an RSX ECU that they have their own board in, and then there's just like this piece right here that just keeps all the same stock S2000 pins and connects it to the ECU in the correct way. So the internals of this are pretty much the same as in RSXs, I guess. Or they just use the housing for some reason. I don't know.
I didn't even know you had a Honda in here.
Yeah.
Sneaky mod.
Yeah. I mean, I got. This is probably more my problem.
Oh, that sidebar.
Yeah. Run a little foam guy on that, but I still think I'm gonna want to drop it at least an inch. So these seat rails are gonna have to come out, and then I'm gonna drop it all just down to the same height as the frame rail. That way it'll be easier to run a flat bottom. Probably run 1 single sheet of aluminum or something. Probably just like riv nut it to the bottom. I probably won't run it all the time either. Just do something like a 20 gauge or something really thin. Maybe
For like
18.
aerodynamics?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The actual floor is gonna be epoxy to this, and then I've got that angle carbon fiber that I'm gonna cut and epoxy to the carbon floor, and then epoxy to these sides right here. The floor won't be removable, but I'm planning on having the transmission tunnel removable, but we'll see. Do a slight little baby tack across that guy. Maybe not even all the way across, maybe just on each end. Get them exactly horizontal, make sure they're level. That's it, maybe like 4, 5 maybe? 4. 4 across the front, maybe 5 across the back. So I'll have 1 on that end, 1 right here. Since the gauge cluster is so wide, I'm not gonna be able to evenly space out the 4 tabs, but I'd like to have these 3 at least evenly spaced with each other. The 28 inches is 1 inch away from, about 1 inch away from the edge of each of these guys.
What are these sides for?
Dash. They're hot. So this is just aluminum angle iron that we cut into little 1 inch wide pieces. I got 6 of them. Basically what I'm gonna do is use a little 40 grit on this top surface, and where it sits on the dash, it's gonna, I'll epoxy it into it. And then the back half of this, you can see there's a couple spots in here where the old dash mounted. Basically I'm gonna have to drill a hole in here. I might even egg it out to like an oval so I can adjust the height of it and everything. That's just gonna mount in there. I might bolt it in and have to tap this down. So you see it's sitting a little bit up at an angle. Trim off the bottom. That's it. She just needs a trim, and tap a couple of these tabs in. These tabs are just to hold another piece of carbon from like here up, just so.
Oh, to fill it in?
Yeah, because you can see the front of the dash, and the side will be covered.
Okay.
So these LEDs are actually set up so if you run 3 in a circuit, you don't have to run a resistor for every single LED, but
This is your tail light, right?
yeah, this is just a PCB board, shitload of LEDs, and then this is just this board just does the sequential LED, so the bar lights up from one end. And then this is just the lens, which I'm going to be making a new lens that's just smooth and doesn't have any of this stuff on it. But then I'm getting a smaller. I have a smaller like Deutsch DTM connector. This thing's fucking massive. Just taillights. It's like a third this size.
You keeping them
Running
smoked?
light. No. Yeah. So I'm making a mold out of the stock old lenses, and then I'm using this red plexiglass, which is just like, it's like a deep cherry red, but it's similar to like a regular taillight, I guess. And we're gonna heat that up in an oven, and then you basically make a box that's airtight, except for at the top has a bunch of holes. It's like a vacuum forming machine, basically. And you just attach a shop vac to one end of it. It sucks in through all the holes. You have the hot plastic on top in like a little metal like trim piece around it, and then you just set it on it. Sucks the plastic to the form, cools. It's crazy. Dope. I need to get a new set of bolts.
All right, so that concludes our day. You know, got a lot done. Got the diff welded, so you could take that to get balanced now. We got the tabs mounted in the roll cage, so that can get painted. I think he said he's gonna be painting it bright white. I could be wrong, but we'll see. Man, get it on video, of course. And yeah, so we got the tabs mounted for the dashboard. So I think he's gonna be cutting that out probably sometime this week or next week. Let's see what else. Oh, we did the first layer of carbon for the doors for show. And yeah, y'all know what it is. Go ahead, subscribe if y'all haven't already. Street Banditos, we are out.